Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Comic Book Burrito Extra Beef. My name's Darian.
My name's Landon.
And today, we have a special guest host on here with us. He is a comic book connoisseur. He is a Valiant-versed individual, ladies and gentlemen. The great Spillman has joined us to talk about Ninjak versus the Valiant universe.
How's it going? Thanks for having me on here.
Yeah. How have you been?
Well, I've been great. I just got back from the comic book store, so I'm doing great. I got a bunch of reading material here, and I'm ready to dive into it right after we finish this stuff. So,
that sounds great. And Landon, what about you?
I just want to say it's an honor to have you on here. So. But this is wild. We've been meaning to do this for a while. Sorry, what was the question again? I'm just mesmerized.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. This is great.
Well, it's an honor to be on here as well. Thank you guys for inviting me.
Oh yeah,
no problem. Did you like your intro?
I did. It was amazing.
You were a Valiant-versed individual.
Grandiose. I liked it.
It took me a whole 5 minutes to figure it out.
Wow.
Yeah.
You shouldn't shortchange yourself like that.
Okay.
That's my job.
Yeah, you're right, Landon. Yeah, but like I mentioned at the beginning, we are reviewing Ninjak versus the Valiant universe. Could you call it a fan film, I guess?
Yeah.
Yeah, fan film made by Batinthesun. This is based off of the Valiant comics, and this is our first time kind of talking about them on the podcast. It's us dipping our toes into what is Valiant, and more will come in the future, but this is the start. So, Landon, what were you anticipating maybe going into this?
I think out of all of us in this group call, I am the least knowledgeable on Valiant. Luckily, thanks to Mr. Spillman here, he introduced me to many great characters, showing me that there are way more than just Marvel and DC. So,
maybe real quick, just so the people that are listening that have no idea what we're talking about, Spillman, do you want to maybe give them the rundown of what Valiant Comics is?
Sure. Yeah, I can do that. So in the early 90s, you had a group of talent leave Marvel, namely Jim Shooter, who was editor-in-chief at Marvel for a time. You had Bob Layton. You had Barry Windsor Smith. You had quite a few, pretty prominent people in the comic book industry kind of set out and try to do their own thing. So you had those guys that started Valiant. You also had Todd McFarlane, Jim Lee, and their group do Image. So you started having all of these independent comic book publishers gain prominence in the 90s because of the big comic book boom. And Valiant was number 3 for a good part of the 90s. So you had Marvel, DC, and then right there at number 3, Valiant was selling millions of books a month. And really kind of established a shared universe. We always use that term nowadays. But Valiant was all about kind of having interconnected stories and things in their comics. So they launched Valiant originally publishing Nintendo comics based on Super Mario Brothers and Zelda and the WWF. And Jim Shooter was kind of saw things not going the way they needed to with that. So they decided to build this shared universe, and they did that by licensing some old Gold Key Comics characters from the 60s that were out of print at the time. So you had Magnus Robot Fighter, Solar, Man of the Atom, and Turok Dinosaur Hunter. And at the time it was called Turok Son of Stone. So they licensed those 3 characters, and they introduced all of their other characters within these series. So the first superhero book that was published by Valiant was Magnus, Rai, which I'm sure we'll kind of maybe touch on a little bit here, was introduced in Magnus. In Solar, when he was introduced, the Harbinger Foundation, Toyo Harada, all of the Psyops and all that were introduced in that book. And then Turok came in after Valiant's first big crossover called Unity. So they were selling really well. To kind of put it in perspective, the first issue of around 4 million copies when it came out. That's why you see it everywhere, for 10 cents. But anyways, in the mid 90s, Valiant, there were leadership changes. You kind of had the downtrend in the comic industry. Things started going south. So the video game publisher, Acclaim Entertainment, ended up purchasing Valiant. And what they wanted to do was spin off the characters into, video games. So here you have, they established, Valiant Comics, Bloodshot, you had Shadow Man, you had Ninjak, you had all these great characters. And now we have a video game publisher who's running the, steering the ship, I guess. They rebooted all the characters, changed a lot of the origin stories, and just really kind of did a lot of things that the fans didn't like. They ended up making several Turok games. Those were, highly reviewed, highly regarded on the Nintendo 64. They made a couple of Shadow Man games. The first one was recently remastered. And then they ended up going bankrupt in 2002. At the same time, there was a group of fans that were really kind of excited about getting their hands on these properties and moving forward with them in a more modern sense. So the properties kind of laid dormant for from 2002 to about 2012. And there were several bids put on the properties and things like that. But you had Dinesh Shamdasani and a couple of other investors ended up with the licenses, and they rebooted the entire Valiant universe in 2012. So you had their flagship series, Exo Manowar, Visigoth from the 1600s, abducted by aliens, gains the world's most technologically advanced organic kind of armor. So they relaunched that as kind of their flagship series. You had Bloodshot relaunched, you had Harbinger relaunched, you had Shadow Man relaunched, and they just built this great universe in 2012. And then kind of his tenure ran from 2012 to 2016. They expanded on the universe. They kind of had two timelines going with the current timeline and then the one set in 4001 to kind of allude back to some of the gold key characters that they had in the mid 90s. Unfortunately, when Acclaim went bankrupt, those properties reverted back to their original owners there. So, currently they're still publishing comics and all that. Unfortunately, Dinesh left in 2018, and Valiant was bought by DMG Entertainment, who is I want to say they own CBS, if I remember right. And they were the ones that produced the Bloodshot movie that recently came out as well. The Ninjak versus the Valiant universe, however, was produced before the DMG buyout. And if there's rumors surrounding it, but I want to say that it was pretty much like buried and canceled. And, DMG never intended to release the movie. And Dinesh had to fight to even get it out on YouTube from what I understand. So so that kind of puts us where right where the movie is here. So
if I'm remembering correctly, it started off as a web series, right?
Yeah. So it did start out as a web series. Yeah.
That's a lot of info.
Well, yeah.
Info. It's good for people who have no idea what this is, because maybe we can turn them on to it.
Yeah, I'm glad. I'm being more than happy to bring more people.
Yeah, and
it's great.
Then the nice thing about it is, when I was growing up, I knew of Valiant. I knew of Turok, and I knew I didn't like Magnus, and all that. But I didn't get into modern Valiant until probably about 3-4 years ago. And I just happened upon a Ninjak Volume 1. Matt Kent wrote it. I like Matt Kent. He had wrote some comics that I'd read before, and I read it and I was just kind of blown away. He's basically Ninja Batman.
Yeah.
And, after I read that, then I went on to Bloodshot. I really liked his backstory. He's had these memories implanted in his mind. He's doing these missions, and all of a sudden he discovers that the memories are fake, So he loses that motivation. And of course, the company that's, or the government agency that's doing this to him, Project Rising Spirit, is, manipulating him behind the scenes. And so I picked up Bloodshot as well. And then, of course, Exo Manowar that I mentioned earlier. Those were the 3 that I read first, and I was just hooked.
You fell down the rabbit hole?
Yeah, I fell down the Valiant rabbit hole, and ever since, I've read everything I could get my hands on, especially from 2012 to 2018, where you had really this creative, just quality writing and everything, putting new spins on characters, just you couldn't ask for better creative teams on the books that were being written during that time. The amazing work was being done. So,
yeah,
it's definitely. So that was my next question too. Was going to be, what was your introduction of Valiant? But you answered that yourself.
Oh, and of course, Shadow Man. I picked up Shadow Man as well. He's always one of my favorites because you have that kind of that dichotomy between the living world, and then he can travel to the dead side, and all the stuff that exists in the dead side too. I always thought that was kind of intriguing too. So,
so let me think how I want to start this. So Ninjak versus the Valiant Universe. When was the first time that you saw this? Like, was it back when it first came out?
Oh, well, actually, I didn't know it existed when I first started reading Valiant. I want to say that the comic book version of the movie or the web series was being released when I first started getting into Valiant. So I didn't really know where to start. So I was reading the stuff from 2012. And it was actually probably last year when I watched it. And it hit all the high notes for me as something that was really kind of fan-centered. If you're knowledgeable about the Valiant universe and you kind of got a personal stake in these characters, it works wonderfully. So, I loved it. I watched it several times since that first viewing. So
with Landon, it's a different story because he's like barely knows half these people.
Well, I mean, and that's one of the issues, I guess you could say, with the web series is it doesn't give you a lot of backstory on the characters. It assumes that you already know who these characters are. So
yeah. So Landon, what characters did you recognize?
Obviously, Bloodshot was a big one. Archer and excuse me, Archer and Armstrong. I recognize them. Shadow Man. I was a little bit familiar with Ninjak, and I would say that was pretty much it.
Okay, so
I knew more of the characters. Luckily, I was glad I was introduced to some new ones. I think her name was Rose or something.
Roku,
yeah,
Roku, yeah.
Yeah, she seemed really cool. She reminded me of that. I don't know if they're similar, but that one girl from it's from that Marvel property. The
Medusa.
Yeah.
That's her. Who. Yeah, it reminded me of that when I watched.
I don't know if that's a sin to say or anything in the Valiant world.
She's just got the hair. The hair is the only.
Yeah, she has the red hair and stuff. I was like, oh, it kind of reminds me of her.
Yeah, that's one of the characters that was introduced when I picked up that first volume of Ninjak, and her backstory was awesome. I think Darian, you've read this, right?
Yeah.
Where she's given kind of this spiritual nail is shoved in her neck, and she's buried and has to, dig her way out of her own grave by fighting these Shibudo or whatever, like samurai ghosts and things. And she gains the power to kind of manipulate her hair.
Yes.
but awesome backstory. For her, definitely.
Yeah. And thought real quick I'd go over some the actors who played in this, who played each character. Colin King, or Ninjak, was played by Michael Rowe, who, for anyone listening who may watch the show Arrow, he played Deadshot in that show.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I've never watched Arrow, so.
Yeah.
Well, I have twice.
Oh, yeah. How many have?
And so he played Deadshot. John Hennigan is okay. Now I always say it was Gillard, but they say like two different ways. Like the one of them said Gilad, and the other one said Gilad, and so I have no idea. So
Yeah, I've always called him Gillard. But yeah, I think they over exaggerated in the movie.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the pronunciation in the movie as the correct one because Dinesh was the one that, oversaw this project.
Mm-hmm. So
I guess we need to call him Gilad.
Gilad. Or Eternal Warrior. There we go.
Yeah, Eternal Warrior. There you go.
Yeah. Played by John Hennigan. He's an old WWE wrestler. He used to go by John Morrison. I don't know what else he's been in, but yeah. Chantel Berry plays Angelina Alcott, or Roku. Is she related to Neville Alcott?
No, in the comic, I don't believe so. No.
Oh, what? They have the same last name.
And in fact, I think in the movie, or in the comic, I mean, I don't remember her. Her origin, is kind of like shrouded in mystery, from what I understand.
Okay.
So,
it's just because she's got the same last name as the Alcott, so I was
sure
making a.
And there may be some backstory there that I'm not recalling or haven't read yet. Who knows?
Yeah. Let me see what Chantel Berry has played in. Oh, she's a musician. I don't know. She's from Australia, and she's in a band called Bardot. I don't know. I've never heard of it. And she's never acted in anything. Oh, wait. She's been in NCIS.
Oh, okay.
And Doc McStuffins, so she's credible.
Oh yeah.
She played I think she played that role very well.
Mm-hmm.
She seemed, I don't know, sometimes her acting seemed a little weird. But overall, I think they did Roku well.
Yeah, I will agree up to a certain point. They kind of relegated her to sitting behind a desk the entire movie.
Yeah, that was kind of weird.
Monitor, yeah.
When she's supposed to be this ninja assassin.
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of disappointed with that. I was kind of hoping for like a big fight scene between the two because they have such a rivalry and kind of that type of relationship in the comics.
And like the only fight scene we got was that one in the plane, right?
Yeah. And then the plane gets blown up.
Yeah. Well.
So
that's funny. So, and Sierra Foster as Amanda McKee, or Livewire, who is, she's got connections to the Psyops, right?
Yeah, so she's a technomancer. So she can speak to technology, just telepathically. She's one of the most powerful Psyops in the Valiant universe. So.
All right, let me look up her real quick, see what she's been in other than that. She's most known for her role as Livewire.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah, this was a new character for me, and I was honestly, I want to read up more about her, and because I wasn't too sure what her powers were, or if she even has any.
Well, in the movie, they seem to play up that she can shoot lightning out of her hands.
Yeah,
and that can be, I guess, somewhat confusing to people. But in the comics, actually, she, has the ability to manipulate, technology. So
okay,
and that comes into play a lot with some of the interactions she has with Bloodshot because he has the nanites in his blood.
mm-hmm.
So she can kind of manipulate those to her will,
Okay. I remember them mentioning that. I was like, okay. So she's kind of like a MODOK in a way where he can control technology. Is that
Sure, yeah.
Okay, making sure.
So
Just trying to give a bridge in a way if some people are confused, such as myself.
Sure, yeah.
Just to make sure.
And speaking of building that bridge or whatever, I didn't give much backstory on Gilad. You want me to do that as well, or Darian, or?
I mean, you can if you want. I might butcher it.
Okay. So yeah, one of the big premises of the Valiant universe is the three brothers. So you got Armstrong, Gilad, and Ivar. And Gilad is the eternal warrior, and the shtick with him is he's immortal. I mean, he can die, but he always comes back from the dead. And his task is to protect the Earth's geomancer, which is a person that the Earth chooses as its, liaison between the Earth and the living that are on the Earth. And it's his job as the eternal warrior to protect the geomancer from the immortal enemy who shows up every 1,000 years or so to kill the geomancer. So that's kind of his backstory. He's lived for 10,000 years, and he's this, master of warfare and fighting styles and all of that stuff. So
he had I don't know if they portrayed it in the movie. I don't think they did really. He has a connection to, like, they wanted that book, the book of the Geomancer in the film.
Yeah, and that's what Ninjak steals.
Yeah. And so, but it didn't really seem like he was, like, too concerned about that. Like, he was helping get it, but, like, he didn't seem like that was his, like, task of his life.
Well, are you talking about Gilad?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I can get that where you can kind of see that he was kind of nonchalant about it, even though the fact that, the whole premise of his existence is to protect the geomancer in the book.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're right. Yeah, that's his whole purpose in existing is to protect that book and protect the geomancer. So
I can give it a little bit of leniency though, because this is made by fans and not by a movie company. It's not made by Warner Brothers, so I can't make fun of them. Let's see. Kevin Porter plays Aram Anipada. I think that's how you say his name. Armstrong, otherwise known as. Kevin Porter has played in a lot of Batman-related things. He played in this thing called City of Scars from 2010, which looks like a Batman. I don't know what it is. Maybe a fan film. Something else called Seeds of Arkham in Batman Legends, which I think these are all fan films. And then he also played in 2003's Daredevil.
Well,
I don't know who he played.
I couldn't attest to that because I watched that movie one time and I haven't watched it since.
Darren's trying to get me to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, he plays a bodyguard.
Oh, the very, very major role. We must see
which
it.
He, maybe I'm thinking of something else. See, the same people that made this film made a Batman film recently called Dying is Easy. And it was really good. And I was thinking that this guy played in it, but I was wrong.
Yeah, I thought the guy who played Joker in that was Ninjak. Was that him or no?
No. The guy that played Joker in that was at the end of the Ninjak movie. He played Dark, the bald guy with that.
Oh, Master Dark.
Yeah.
Master Dark. Okay.
Aaron. I don't know how to say his last name, but he like runs Batinthesun, sort of.
Okay. Yeah, I see his live streams all the time. I was wondering if it was him.
Yeah. Alex Megley plays Archer, which don't know what he's played in. Now, Archer and Armstrong to me were like the highlights of this.
Mm. Oh, yeah.
I just thought like, even though I imagined Armstrong sounding a bit different. Like,
yeah, he had a very what accent would that be? What would you call that?
American.
Is it really American? I don't know.
And he didn't sound any like he didn't have like any kind of
I
dialect.
felt like he had like a certain accent to him, but maybe it was just a pipe dream. I don't know. Like I felt like he had like a not an Irish accent, but a what do you call? I don't know. It's whatever. I feel like there was something different with Archer though, because the what I have read, it's more like Archer is like, I mean, he's serious in here, but he's always kind of like, what's the word? Like Armstrong is like just kind of, what he is in this kind of just.
He just drinks every scene he has a beer. There was that scene in the film where they were like, "Oh, you're just all you do is sit in there and drink alcohol," and he was like, "First off, this isn't alcohol; it's beer."
yeah, that was a pretty good line.
Right, or after the fight where he's like, "All right, let's go get a drink." And they're like, "You've been drinking this entire time." But those two characters, I think those two actors played well with one another. They had a good chemistry. Mm-hmm. It's hard to pull off Archer, I think, in a film because he is so straight laced. You don't want him to seem goofy, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
And they kind of went with a more kind of naive, kind of goofy personality for him in this film. Mm-hmm. And in the comic, you're right, Landon. He has that side of him. He's also serious,
Yeah. And I mean, Archer and Armstrong in this is more like because obviously I saw the cover, and that's what they see in the movie is what I thought they would be. But no, it's somewhat different in a way, like because I thought they'd be like a Captain America, Bucky Barnes type of team, which they are in some ways. But they kind of changed it up a bit. But luckily it was a change I was happy with. I'm like, okay, I can. This is one I can get by with.
Sure, and they're one of my favorite duos in comic history.
Oh yeah,
they're my second favorite.
Yeah, they it's like I was kind of disappointed you didn't have Quantum and Woody in here, but I understand how many characters they already had in the movie.
I would have loved that.
I mean, just the premise of Archer and Armstrong is great. You had this kid raised up in a religious cult to kill the man who can't be named, and just so happens that the man that can't be named is this dude over here, drinking constantly. And then they team up with one another, and that's kind of the play between them. You got the straight laced kid, and you got the guy who's lived for 10,000 years, and it's basically all kinds of debauchery and stuff.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So, by the way, I agree with that Quantum and Woody. It would have been cool if they were in there, at least for like a cameo or something.
Sure,
kind of shows a bigger universe here.
Could have been in the bar when they found Armstrong.
Sure, that's true. Yeah.
But okay, what's the name of the kid that plays? All right, Alex Megley, who played Archer. He is a stunt actor, and he's worked on stunts for movies like he's done Doom Patrol, the show. Does stunts on that. Cobra Kai.
Nice.
Divergent, the movie, and tons and tons of other stuff. I don't recognize some Stranger Things. He's done that. Just a lot of stuff, but it hasn't been anything else besides that. Yeah, that was Archer. Let's see. Damian Poiter, I don't know, plays Shadow Man, and now this guy I do know. He's the one that originally did the body, like mocap type thing for Thanos in the after credit scene of the first Avengers movie.
Oh, I did not know that. That is awesome.
And do you remember in Captain America: Civil War when like Crossbones and all his people steal the vial of like whatever the nerve agent or whatever, and Black Widow's chasing after this group of guys that have it in the town, and the guy she beats him up, and then the guy holds it and he says something. He says, "Drop the gun or I drop this," and he was like holding the vial. Remember this at all?
Yeah.
Okay, that guy that was holding it was Damian Poiter, or Shadow Man. Okay,
cool. Yeah, that's awesome. He has some ties to the MCU.
Mm-hmm. And I knew I recognized him. I heard his voice, and I was like, this guy seems familiar. And he was the first Thanos.
He was the first thing.
He was.
So his credit in the MCU is he mocap for Thanos,
and then he was a
and
thug.
turned to the camera and smiled. That's all he did.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So
That's awesome. Still though, that's awesome.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's probably been in more stuff, but I mean, it was a superhero podcast, so that's what we talk about.
Yeah, I will say that I really liked him at Shadow Man. Though.
Yeah,
he plays the character well. He's got kind of that like raspy voice. And they kind of, I've told you this before, they mix the original Shadow Man with the Magpie Shadow Man, and that's a whole story in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
But I like how they had the kind of original costume on him with his scythe and all that too.
Yeah. I was telling Landon that he was one of the, besides him and like Archer and Armstrong, Shadow Man was one of the highlights of the movie for me too. But I don't think Landon agreed with it.
Well, no, I'm just saying, I thought, well, I wasn't saying that he wasn't that character. I'm just saying that.
You said, nah, man, whenever I said it.
Yeah. Well, you said, like, yeah, we're the best. He said Shadow Man was the best. I was like, nah, man, Archer and Armstrong.
I thought he was, like, awesome, right? When I heard Ninjak go, Shadow Man, or, like, he said something, he turned around, he was there, and I was like, yes.
Here, hold up. Yeah.
And that was a pretty inventive way for them to find out that, Roku was manipulating them, with him partially dying and traveling to the dead side,
Yeah. And which they kind of set up, like at the end of it, you see Roku's body. It goes like that temple or whatever. It might be might have been in the dead side. I don't know.
I believe it was in the dead side, I believe, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe that too.
If you see Roku's body and Master Dark is there, and it seemed like it was setting up like a sequel, even though I highly doubt they're going to do one. But
sure, yeah, and I think that was the idea at the time, and unfortunately, like I mentioned before, they, basically had to force the executives out of the company after DMG bought them out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Man, we could have gotten a live action Quantum and Woody. That sucks.
Well, they are making one right now. The Russo brothers
are making a movie. Oh, yeah. Oh my God.
They're making a show.
No, dang it! Don't say that.
But it's the Russo brothers. And
I know it's the Russo
last
brothers,
year they said they've kind of put it on the back burner right now because of COVID. But
no, they can shut up. They can work on it now. We find many ways.
And they might.
Yeah, after.
I mean,
they're obviously not doing Avengers movies.
I don't know.
Yeah, after I found out that the Russos were attached to that project, I was so excited. And they previously did Community.
Yeah.
Before they were brought into the MCU to do the Winter Soldier.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know they did do Community.
Yeah, Community was their first project there. Yeah.
Okay.
And they were supposedly going to have Joel McHale play Woody.
Yeah.
In the series.
Yeah, he's the main character of Community.
He plays Starman on Stargirl. Just saying.
Yeah. Shut up. Can we have an episode where you don't talk about a CW show?
No, see, it connects to everything.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
So what's this guy's name? Craig Young plays Neville Alcott, and does a lot of British stuff, and that's all I know. Jason David Frank plays Bloodshot.
The Green Ranger plays Bloodshot.
He's been in 5 million different Power Ranger projects. And or at least I'm looking here, he's in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 Power Ranger projects.
Wow. Currently in development?
Well, no, like throughout time. Since the very first one looks like it was 1993.
Sure, yeah. He was always my favorite Power Ranger.
Yeah. The green one. I mean, like
Green Ranger, Dragon Zord.
I was never a Power Rangers kid. I just
oh my gosh, I'm done with this podcast.
He is left. He's gone.
Well, you had to be the right age. You can't be too young, nor can you be too old. And unfortunately, I was just more mature than they all were.
Well, let me. He's also played in besides the Power. Actually, he's He's in how many Power Ranger projects did I say a second ago?
You said like
12.
12. Okay, he's been in 13 because there's another one. The latest one was 2018. But he also has done nothing else. So just Power Rangers.
Well, I know in several interviews he said that he will be a Power Ranger for life. Like that's
Well, now he's Bloodshot too.
well, hey, you know, I haven't even watched the Bloodshot movie, and I already consider him to be a better Bloodshot than
I gotta-
these.
Okay, that reminded me. Normally when we do these extra beefs, sometimes I'll bring up like reviews people have done in the movies and like ratings and talk about them. And this one I had looked at, rated it 2 stars, and it's like this huge long thing. I'm not reading it, but the very first sentence, he said, "Now I'm not too familiar with the source material, and my only vague knowledge is from minor research and from the Vin Diesel film Bloodshot. So I can only rate this on its entertainment value and not its faithfulness." I'm well, there's your problem right there.
Yeah. This is again, don't watch this if you have never read it. This is a movie for the fans.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it's that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I mean, if I watch and read more of these characters, I'll be more than happy to watch this movie again and probably enjoy it even more.
I could rewatch this movie like all the time.
Oh yeah, I can. I mean, if I decide to watch it tomorrow, because it was good. I mean, for a person that just ain't really too familiar with these characters, I still loved it. So.
Good for a fan film.
Yes, good for a fan film. I'd say great for a fan film.
I mean, yeah.
Good. Oh, I'm guessing I'm not a fan. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, and I'll say also that, you know, I think Bloodshot had the best fight scene in the movie. Him and Ninjak. Their sword fight, I thought that was the best choreographed fight in the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Bloodshot. It was funny because I was watching this with my dad, and like every time a new Valiant character show up, he's like, "Oh, that's like their version of this character."
I thought about that with Exo Man of War, and I thought it was like right when he flew away when he put his suit on for the first time, I was like Iron Man.
Yeah, I heard Iron Man. I heard my dad said, "Oh, so Ninjak's kind of like Deadpool." Okay. Bloodshot's like the Wolverine.
I didn't think about Ninjak being like Deadpool.
Yeah,
you gotta admit though that Exo's backstory is so much more interesting than Tony Stark's.
Yes, I agree.
I can't say anything on that.
Landon's got to read some Exo comics.
I know. I gotta read some. So
how many have I think I've read about 3 or 4.
Probably. I think I've lent you. Yeah. Through volume 4, maybe.
Yeah, and I've enjoyed it. And he's in the Unity comic that I'm reading right now.
Oh yeah, they're Avengers type team.
Yeah, which you hear them mention Unity in the film once. I think it was Livewire that said it. I may be wrong. She was like something along the lines of like, I have an allegiance to Unity or something like that, or loyalty to Unity.
Yeah, over you when she was talking to Ninjak, and I'm sitting there thinking that Ninjak is in Unity.
Yeah, that's what I was like.
I'm so mad because I'm looking at like pictures of the Bloodshot movie with Vin Diesel, and I'm like tearing up because I'm like, why was this movie?
Tearing up, you're crying over it.
Yes, because like I saw an awesome version of Bloodshot just now in a fan film, but in like a high production movie, it just sucks. It's bad. Like I'm even like.
Yeah.
I haven't seen the movie, but I just know it ain't.
Well, guess what we're doing for our next Valiant themed episode?
I know. There's nothing else. It's almost, unless we start doing comic reviews. What? On the comic book burrito? That's insane. I mean, like, fine. I guess we have to.
So let's see. This says on Wikipedia now. Don't give that much credit. But it says that soon after it was announced that many of the mainstays of the Valiant universe would be featured, including Armstrong of Archer and Armstrong, Time Walker, Faith, Divinity, and Savage. And half of the, like, only Armstrong was in it out of all those people.
Sure, yeah. I want to say that they were trying to push Faith big time at this point. I'm not a fan. I'm glad she's not in the movie. Savage was there because they lost the license to Turok. Savage is their modern version of Turok, the dinosaur hunter. I wouldn't have minded to see him in this. And then Ivar, I mean, he's the third brother. So you had Gilled and you had Armstrong. I mean, it would make sense to have Ivar in there too. But again, I think they just were already packed so full with characters. I don't think there was any logical way to work them in. So
it would have been cool though to see them in there. Not Faith, but that's just my opinion. She is one of my, not like in a mean way, just like uninterested, really.
Sure, yeah.
She didn't interest me as a character that much. Let's see what else it says. A trailer was released at New York Comic Con along with the announcement of the remaining cast. And that's pretty much all the big stuff. I did really like this for what it was. I mean, obviously it couldn't have been like so great because obviously they didn't have like that big of a budget. But as a fan of Valiant, I enjoyed what was going on, and I do understand Landa's point where, like, if you didn't know these characters so much, I wouldn't have like been more interested. But
it's kind of good though, because I mean, we got like almost 3 perspectives of this movie. Obviously, the super fan, Mr. Spillman, then you, a moderate fan, and me, not really knowing that much. But I will say in the very beginning, I was super confused. But as I kept watching, I got like more invested and got to learn more of these guys. So I mean, if you are someone that watches this and is not too familiar with these characters, just stick around for a bit, and I promise you'll kind of catch up with what's going on.
Yeah,
sure. I think that's a testament to, I think, the enjoyability of the movie, because it's just a fun movie to watch. There's a lot going on. It's action packed. Armstrong gets his head slammed in a door 7 times. That's great. Yeah. So I think that's awesome that we do have varying degrees of knowledge of Valiant here, and we're all able to enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
So.
I'm reading some. This person a year ago rated it 1 star, said acting is non-existent. My God. And then that's the end of the review.
Okay. Well, okay, I have a question, and Miss Spill, I don't know if you can answer this or not. Why is this movie kind of hard to watch? Like, not hard to kind of like find all the way through. Like, we were able to find a copy on YouTube easily, but like, it feels like that's like the only one.
Well, sure, yeah. So it goes back to DMG's buyout of Valiant. So, Dinesh and the people that he had brought to Valiant and the creative base that he had there, they were doing great things. But they didn't see eye to eye with DMG. So DMG kind of wanted to bury this. They wanted to cancel it. It had been uploaded to YouTube a couple of times, I believe, and DMG kept taking it down every so often. So it just came down to, in a way, I guess, creative differences or just animosity between Dinesh and previous leadership at Valiant and the leadership at DMG. So,
okay. I was wondering because I was looking at see if there's other copies because Darren sent me one and it was like horrible resolution. It was like 480p. I was like, man, let's see if there's a 1080 one somewhere. I couldn't find it besides this one on here. Maybe there's a better one online somewhere I could find.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to have a Blu-ray release or something. I mean, I'd buy it.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, we'll find. I would love.
Everything got quiet. I thought my internet went out again.
Yeah, no, I kind of checked it, but I would love a Blu-ray copy of this.
Most definitely.
Definitely. And I don't see why DMG hasn't released it yet. It's already made and produced. I mean, all they would have to do is, upscale it, and release it, license it to some streaming services or something.
Yeah.
I mean,
Hulu.
They could make some money there somehow, some way.
I can say that one of the things that I can maybe gripe about with the movie, at least I think we watched it on YouTube. I think that was the only way we could find it. The quality was a little, it was kind of blurry on my end. I don't know if it was for that video.
I think that has to do with it just being 480p.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of I mean, just because there's a lot going on screen with colors and everything, it kind of makes it look a bit blurry.
Yeah, it was difficult to see. You get used to it, but at the beginning, it was like, wow, would they record this on a potato?
Yeah, yeah. I know. I was like, man, for a. I mean, I don't want to say this is high production, but I mean, obviously there's some.
I'm gonna look up what the budget was. See what the budget was for this film.
You're making a fan film, at least you got to get at least at that 720, if not 1080p. The
budget for Ninjak versus the Valiant universe was, I don't know. It's not telling me.
Well, I would say, let's say they had a budget maybe 10,000. I mean, I don't know. Is that not a good number? I don't know.
I would imagine that it might be a little more than that. Let's say the number is less than the Bloodshot movie and above 0.
Well, let's see how much the Bloodshot movie was. Hang on.
I swear, if it's over no, I'm not even gonna give another number out because I'm gonna get laughed at.
I hate when I look up Bloodshot and the first picture that comes up is Vin Diesel. 45 million is how much the Bloodshot movie was.
Okay, luckily that's lower than I was thinking. I was like, man, if Bloodshot was 50 million.
How much did Vin Diesel get paid for Bloodshot? I wonder.
45 million.
Oh, they didn't even tell me.
The whole budget was paid to Vin Diesel.
No, $5 on the script.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, but I mean, I also want to give a little shout out here to Batinthesun, by the way, because I used to watch them all the time back in the day.
They have the Superpower Beatdown.
Yes, that's what I used to watch. My first video I watched of theirs was I believe it was Batman versus Deadpool, and I was at the time I was the biggest Deadpool fan ever, and so I would watch that on loop, and then I found out they had other ones like Superman versus Thor, Nightwing versus Gambit, Wolverine versus Batman. They had one of the two Batmobiles. It was the 89 Batmobile, the 1960s Batmobile, and they did a drag race, and it was great.
That's cool. So, I guess all three of us will rate this movie. Normally, how we do it, Spillman, is we'll rate the movie out of 10. We thought about it. So,
okay.
Do you want to go first?
Sure, yeah. So if I was going to rate it out of 10, I'm more about enjoyability of the movie than I am, I guess, necessarily high production values and all that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I would give it maybe a 7.5. Some of the acting stiff. It's definitely it reminds me of a made-for-TV Power Rangers episode in a way, the way it looks and feels. However, I love the movie. I've watched it several times. I enjoy it. So maybe a 7.5, 8, somewhere in that range. Because I think it's just really enjoyable aside from the downside. So
yeah.
Agreed.
Landon, what about you?
Oh, okay. I'd be in the same boat, but I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay.
So
I think I agree with you. I'd probably give it a 7.
Mm.
And I am slightly biased here too.
Yeah, I mean,
yes.
Obviously, you made some. I mean, obviously, you're the. You're
a Valiant first individual.
I mean, I give Spider-Man 3 a 10 out of 10, and I'm biased.
You gave it wait.
I would.
Wait
I would.
Okay. All right.
I'm just
10
saying.
out of 10.
Yeah, Spider-Man 3 is perfect. So is Spider-Man 2 and Spider-Man 1. But the rest of the movies, they're like 5s, 3s, you know. But like, you know, I mean, I think you gave some pretty good criticism and everything. So it sounds fair to me.
No, I appreciate
That is a bias. That is a bias. I mean,
I almost walked out of Spider-Man 3. So I'm,
how did you almost walk out of Spider-Man 3, but did you not walk out? Did you walk out when you watched Hulk 2003?
I wasn't.
No, I didn't.
I was wrong. I know you turned to me. I was like, Darian, I wasn't even in the womb when Hulk 2003 was in production.
I remember the scene that I got up and my brother's like, no, let's stick it out to the end. It's where Venom and Sandman meet in the alleyway and they're like, hey, you want to team up with Spider-Man? I'm like, I'm done. I
was a happy kid when that movie came out. I still give my parents credit for this day. They didn't take me to the theater to go see it because they thought Venom would scare me. I mean, but they bought me the Blu-ray day one, and I watched it every day.
Fast forward to the future, and you're going with your podcast partner to go see Venom in theaters.
Oh yeah, that was a good story. I got a bunch of Raimi stories I can't wait to tell on our Spider-Verse episode, which I mean, you're happy to join if you want to.
Whichever one's your favorite, you can join in if you want.
Yes.
Well, I've told you guys this before. Spider-Man 3 will always be my favorite, hands down, favorite superhero movie of all time. Spider-Man 1.
Well, you heard that. Spillman's going to join us for Spider-Man 3.
No. Yes.
But I will come and, talk horribly about Spider-Man 3 if you'd like for me to do that as well.
Yeah, and we'll fist fight. Yeah. We'll live.
You could just join in randomly, say this movie sucks, and then leave.
I'd be more than happy to do that.
That happens. We're ending it. I can't be in your class no more. I will leave your esports team.
And that's coming from a person who loves or believes Sam Raimi is the greatest director in film history. You know.
Yeah. I'm watching all the Evil Dead and Army of Darkness movies this month.
And then Doctor Strange 2 next year.
Oh, yes.
I can't wait till, oh my God. That's the MCU movie I'm waiting to see.
I'm waiting to see No Way Home. And then I'm waiting to see Doctor Strange. Let's see. We had just talked about, because previously before this, we had just recorded our normal episode of the podcast. And we, just a few hours ago, I don't know if you've seen it, posted our teaser trailer for our Spider-Man series.
Oh, yeah, I did watch that. Yeah, just actually a few minutes before I got on here with you guys.
Landon did that all by himself.
Yes. See?
Nice.
Yeah, so I need to join Spillman's video editing class, clearly. But I'm giving what I'm giving, and I just work with what I got.
It was pretty good.
Yes, thank you. Yeah. Little rough patches, but it's all good. I'm glad y'all liked it. And I received a message from a friend. He's all like, I can't stop watching it. It's actually like really cool, and I'm excited. So I'm glad he kind of gave word a bit. But
now I will say that Peter Parker walking away from MJ at the end of the first movie, like, I can distinctly remember sitting in the theater and just like being on the edge of my seat. You know, like I can't believe this movie's over. I've waited so long for this movie, but I was so excited for what was to come next. So,
and then it's not like, man, and he did it again, even better. The bad man Raimi did it again in Spider-Man 2.
Oh yeah.
Yep. I mean, then 3 happened, and stupid Avi Arad had to ruin everything. But that's an episode for another day.
Yeah. Well, I mean, is there a speaking of Valiant? I did have one question I kind of proposed to you guys. Like, what was your favorite aspect of the movie of Ninjak versus the Valiant universe?
The action, I think, and we kind of touched on it. There's a lot going on throughout the film, but the action scenes were very well done, I think. Like Ninjak was really fun to watch.
I would say honestly, I'd say the characters were all really good. I was going to think like, man, obviously there is one I like more than the rest, and that would be Archer and Armstrong. But I loved every character, and I was every time I saw one character come back on screen, I was like, oh, this guy, oh, I love him, he's great.
This guy's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, Neville Alcott.
Yeah, exactly. See, so I mean, it was just it was cool. It was cool to see all these characters kind of come together and do like a big. And plus the story was pretty good because some of these fan films they have a pretty like loose, not really put together story. But this one was great. This was on par with the Spider-Landed movie of just it being.
Man. Oh, hold on. No, you can't compare it to the Spider-Landed movie.
I know. I'm probably giving the movie more credit, but the story in here was. I mean, it was. I'm not saying it was perfect, but it was pretty good.
It was good.
Very nice.
But yeah, I like how we started getting off the topic, started talking about future stuff, and then we went right back to Ninjak.
Oh well, sorry. I wanted to.
It's fine. No,
I wanted to ask you guys that before. Before you started wrapping up here.
It's fine. It's fine.
It's all good.
I just said that as a joke. Yeah, but we rated it. We did all that, and I think, Spill, do you have anything you want to plug?
Anything I want to plug? Read the new Shadow Man comic. It's awesome. It's the best thing Valiant is putting out right now. So you can support them in that way. So yeah, I always got to plug Shadow Man because that's, like I said, it's the best thing they're doing right now.
And so if you were to people heard this and they're like, oh, this Valiant stuff sounds really interesting. What would be the first comic you'd want them they should check out?
Well, so like I said earlier, like my first read into the modern Valiant universe was Ninjak. Mm-hmm. If I was going to start with any book, it would be, it would probably be Exo Manowar, because that's their flagship character. And it involves a lot of the other characters, the backstory. And it sets the premise for a lot of different story arcs that happen in the future. He was abducted by aliens in the 1500s. He was a Viking. And when he finally escapes their ship and steals that the exo armor, because of the warp drive and how the ship travels through space, he's now in our present time. So it kind of bridges the gap between the 1500s and the modern day. And you see, the Eternal Warrior pop up. You see Armstrong. You see Ivar pop up. You see a lot of different characters come into play there that are, big players in the Valiant universe. So if you're going to start somewhere, I think it would definitely be with the first volume of Exo Manowar.
You heard it right there, folks.
I also wanted to, again, this is, I'd say a comic that really got me into Valiant. Just if you just don't really care about story wise, or if you do care about story wise, was Quantum and Woody. I don't know. Yeah, you let me borrow that one comic, Spillman, and it was great. And it brought me, it introduced me more and more into Valiant. And now, I'm a fan.
Spillman, has he read Delinquents?
No, he hasn't read Delinquents.
Oh man,
I need to return Shadow Man, and it's like the X-Men one. What's it called?
Harbinger.
Oh, Harbinger.
Harbinger. Yes, man. I don't have my books on me currently because I don't fully remember the names.
Landon,
you can get them back to me anytime.
Landon, you would love Delinquents. Do you know what it is?
No, I'm not too familiar.
It's like a crossover comic between Quantum and Woody and Archer and Armstrong.
Oh, okay. Is it good?
Yes, it is.
Oh yeah, it's the. In my opinion, it is the funniest comedy action comic that Valiant has ever published. Mm-hmm. It's hilarious.
Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out when I get a chance.
Yeah.
Hence, I'll go to my comic book store here soon, and I'll purchase a copy of that
if they have it.
If they have a book series or something, I'll buy one.
I know there's a copy at Edward McKay right now. I just saw it earlier.
Well, there you go.
Okay, there
Landon is on his way right now.
Yes, yes, we ought to
He's
end this
in the
soon.
car. He's going to break in because they're closed.
Well, I'm gonna steal my Metal Gear Solid PS1 copy real quick while I'm there. I just realized it's a great. Oh crap! I forgot they have a greatest hits. I'm good. I don't want it. Yeah, but anyways, continue.
Well, maybe we should because we're hitting about over an hour now.
Ooh. Oh.
So maybe that's about the longest extra beef episode that we've done
in a while.
Yeah. First we started them off; they were going over an hour, but
I'd say our longest was Snyder Cut. I'd say.
Yeah, it took a long time to talk about. Anyway,
we have a guest though. It's a special occasion.
Yeah, very first guest.
Yes.
So one day when we're big and popular and we're getting guests all the time, we're getting Kevin Feige himself on here, which is the end goal. You can say that you were the very first guest on the Comic Book Burrito.
Awesome. That would be great. And I hope you do get Kevin Feige on here eventually.
So do I.
We will have Spillman, Kevin Feige, and Robert Downey Jr. all in it.
That would be an interesting episode.
I know. I wonder what we'd even talk about. Let's just talk about the history of Comic Book Burrito and how successful we've been.
No, see, you talk about real world stuff, right? So I was watching a live stream from Matt Kent the other day, and everybody was talking about, oh, what's your favorite book to draw? What's your favorite this? What's your favorite that? Like all dealing with comic books. And I was just like, hey, Matt, who's your favorite rapper? You know whose question he answered? He answered mine.
Just the most their question. Yeah, because some people ask questions that you could easily like look up. Like you ask weird stuff.
He said, "Hey Matt, what's your favorite rapper?" And he said, "Macho Man Randy Savage."
Yeah. Actually said he said Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg, I think. Yeah. So
that picture, me and you Spillman took of you as Macho Man.
The people are listening have no idea what we're talking about.
They'll never know.
They were like, "What?"
They should know. I might post it on my story later. There, we took a picture and Spillman here dressed up as Macho Man Randy Savage for Spirit Week. And there's a picture of him punching me in the stomach, and I'm looking hurt. But
not an actual punch. There's no abuse happening.
No, there's real abuse happening. I got the footage.
No comment.
No comment.
No comment. Like me and my friends, we use that as a meme template all the time. As like Spillman, like you're the problem, and I'm like I'm just getting beat down. It's great. We love it.
All right, but this is going on a while. We're starting to get off topic, so maybe we should go ahead and end it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't have anything to plug the Shadow Man comic.
I did.
Yep. Is that it?
Well, I'll plug every other Valiant title as well.
I didn't know if you had any like YouTube channel or something you want people to check out. I don't know. Something.
Oh, well, I mean, Valiant's YouTube channel. Why not?
Yeah.
They got some good stuff on there.
Yeah.
I did not know they had a YouTube channel.
Yeah, they definitely. Yeah, they have a YouTube channel. They got some interesting stuff on there.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
About the future of the Valiant universe and all that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you get a chance, definitely join the Valiant Comics fan group on Facebook, because that group is filled with all the fans, but also executives at the company, artists, writers, colorers, letterers, and they're all open to just talking with you about nerdy stuff. So definitely join that.
That's awesome.
Better than Marvel's Avengers group, that's for sure.
Yeah, but that's we're not going to talk about that. Anyway.
Yeah, and I will say that, Valiant's one of the most fan-centric comic book companies I've ever had the pleasure of dealing with. they send fans prize packs all the time. They're constantly interacting with their fans, and it goes a long way with showing the fans that they really care about your opinion. And I love being in the group. I love talking to the artists and stuff, and just learning more about the industry. So Valiant Comic Fans on Facebook, definitely check them out.
It'd be awesome to be able to have somebody that works at Valiant to be on here one day.
That's the end goal. That's the end goal.
No, the end goal is Kevin Feige.
No, the goal is Kevin Feige, and
the end goal is Spider Landon.
Oh yeah, so we have to get him on here one day. Maybe he'll show up.
Spider Landon is the guest host. For some reason, Landon said he's sick today, so he can't join us.
Yes, I'm just.
Spider Landon is here.
I hope that never happens to me. If it ever does, let me know. I'll listen to it.
Okay, but guess we're about ready to end this off here. If you guys have any questions, comments, corrections, or concerns for us, you can contact us, or at least me, on Instagram at DarienH4404. It's DARIENH 4404, or on Facebook at the Comic Book Burrito official page.
You can contact me at Spider_Lennon on Instagram and Twitter. And also you can contact us on our official Instagram page. That is the Comic Book Burrito. But we recommend the Facebook group since you can talk and chat with me and Darian and, just have a good time.
Yeah. And Spillman, thanks for joining us.
Yes,
no problem. Thanks for having me. It was an honor.
You are welcome back into the burrito anytime.
Excellent.
Yes. Now in the trash can you go.
Yeah. All right. Well, guess we end it off.
Yes.
See you guys.
See ya.